I've made a significant decision regarding the $3 million. It's decided to split it between my mother and myself. This resolution came swiftly after my father's funeral. Robert, after examining the inheritance documents without seeking permission, remarked to me, "Kelly, don't be too greedy." Amidst thoughts of finally quitting my job, gratitude flooded my mind for the caring old man. "Are you referring to my dad?" I blurted out inadvertently, ignoring my confusion. Robert and my mother-in-law enthusiastically discussed plans to purchase a new car and indulge in shopping. Faced with this unexpected development, my emotions reached a boiling point. Burdened with household chores and insulted by their remarks about my father, I couldn't bear to continue living with Robert and my mother-in-law. Suppressing my anger, I forced a smile and replied, "Sure, feel free to use the money as you and my mother-in-law please." I am Kelly Cohan, a 38-year-old housewife, working alongside my husband. My parents, both doctors, ran a well-reputed clinic in our hometown. As an only child, I was showered with love. After graduating from the School of Pharmacy, I secured a job at a major pharmaceutical company. Though my parents wished I had become a doctor, they respected my decision. 10 years ago, my mother tragically died in an accident, leaving my father and me devastated. During those trying times, Robert, my then boyfriend, supported me. We met through a mutual friend, and 2 years after my mother's passing, Robert proposed. Robert was an ordinary salaryman in the food and beverage industry, but I believed we could overcome any challenge and find happiness together. My father was overjoyed when I shared news of our engagement. "I've heard how Robert supported you, Kelly. Thank you so much. Please continue to take care of her," he said, facing Robert with sincerity. Standing next to Robert, I felt a mixture of emotions. Immersed in a wave of happiness, we visited Robert's family home the following week to announce our impending marriage. His mother, adorned in flashy makeup and divorced from Robert's father, scrutinized me with an air of rudeness. "Marriage, huh? You're Robert's choice for you? Isn't she a plain choice for you, and she's older, right? Wouldn't a younger and prettier girl be better for you?" she said, evaluating me without any restraint. Quickly, Robert retorted, "Mom, you know I'm in pharmaceuticals, right? Kelly works there. Her father is a doctor and runs his practice." Instead of highlighting my character, Robert emphasized the financial advantages. In response, his mother's expression transformed into one of satisfaction. "Oh, Robert, you should have told me such important things earlier. That changes everything. I happily approve of the marriage. Nice to meet you, Kelly." "Thank you," she declared, granting her approval. With Robert overjoyed at his mother's acceptance, I couldn't shake off a lingering sense of unease. Despite the smooth proceedings and approval from Robert's mother, as we were about to register our marriage, my father, a doctor and real estate investor, presented me with an apartment in a luxury building in New York City as a wedding gift. Excitedly, I informed Robert, "Dad has given me this apartment as a wedding gift. It's our new home. Let's live here happily and peacefully together." Robert smiled, and our married life commenced. However, post-marriage, I began to notice something disconcerting. Robert, having lived with his parents until then, seemed almost incapable of handling household chores. He couldn't cook, didn't know how to operate the washing machine, and showed no interest in learning. Garbage would be left scattered around with no effort to dispose of it properly. While my intention was to conscientiously share household responsibilities, Robert's careless attitude only heightened my dissatisfaction. In the initial year of our marriage, I willingly took on all the household duties, despite some complaints, considering we were still in the honeymoon phase. However, the combination of work exhaustion and struggling to keep up with chores pushed me to my limit in our second year. Deciding it was time for a serious conversation, I bravely expressed my dissatisfaction to Robert. To my dismay, his response lacked gratitude or reflection. "I'm tired from work too. You're much better at chores than I am, right? It's better if you do them since I'm not good at it," he dismissed just like that. Consequently, Robert hardly contributed to the chores, leaving me to bear the brunt of our household responsibilities. But that wasn't the sole issue. After marrying Robert, I discovered that his mother harbored some peculiar ideas. Robert, not particularly interested in seasonal events, led me to send a quality scarf and carnations to his mother for Mother's Day. Despite selecting a nice scarf from a department store, his mother's displeased call criticized it as not being from a famous brand, deeming it absurd to send such a no-name item. Attempting to explain its quality proved futile, as she insisted on items from a very famous luxury brand. Stunned by her reaction, I reported this to Robert upon his return home. Instead of empathizing, he nonchalantly said, "What? Just do as she said." Robert failed to take my side, and from that point on, we started giving her cash as she demanded. By our 5th year of marriage, her frequent visits became a regular occurrence, always finding reasons to ask for money. Despite this, Robert, without any complaints, would always smile and comply with his mother's financial requests. I held a job while Robert's income remained limited and small, making our daily life just barely manageable. Desperation drove me to dip into our savings to cut living expenses. Despite my frustrations, I understood Robert's deep affection for his mother, who had supported me during tough times. She was the mother of someone important to me, and with that thought, I endured. Now, in our 8th year of marriage, I continued to handle all the household chores and kept giving money to my mother-in-law. One day, amidst this routine, my father, whom I hadn't seen in a while, unexpectedly called me. The story he shared during our rare meeting was shockingly unexpected. He revealed that he was suffering from terminal cancer and treatment was no longer possible. Overwhelmed with shock, tears spilled from my eyes. My father gently stroked my head, just as he did when I was a child, saying, "Kelly, this is fate. Let us accept it." Quietly, I questioned him, "Dad, why even you?" Thus, my days became a juggling act of work, household duties, and visits to my father's hospital. While work allowed some flexibility, managing the household was not easy. When I told Robert that my first priority would be caring for my father, he showed no reaction or willingness to help. "Well, it's tough with your father's sudden condition. Please do your best," was the only thing Robert said. He visited my father in the hospital only once. My father's care consumed all my time, leaving no room to spare for Robert. If I ever had a moment to worry about him, I prioritized my father. One day, as my father lay in his hospital bed, he suddenly asked, "Kelly, how is your marriage with Robert going?" Caught off guard, thoughts of Robert's demeanor at home and his mother's behavior flooded my mind. Unable to answer properly, I hesitated. Sensing my turmoil, my father comforted me, saying, "Kelly, you don't have to endure. Think about your happiness. Don't worry, you won't have any hardships after I'm gone." Tears flowed uncontrollably as my father silently and firmly held my hand. 3 months later, the inevitable moment arrived. My father passed away quietly, engulfing me in immense sorrow. Amidst funeral arrangements, Robert showed no interest in my grief and offered no help. Despite this, I was too consumed with preparations to notice. Many friends and acquaintances attended my father's funeral, making it a heartfelt farewell, even for the indifferent Robert and his mother. The day after the funeral, a lawyer called about my father's inheritance. Arranging a meeting, I listened to the surprising explanation. After deducting taxes like inheritance tax, my father's estate amounted to over $3 million. He had not only earned income as a doctor but also invested in real estate, leaving behind a vast fortune to be inherited by me, his only daughter. Wrapped in surprise and gratitude, yet trembling at the thought of handling such a huge amount of money, I stood on the threshold of a new chapter in my life. Upon returning home, I delved into the inheritance process. Spreading out the documents received from the lawyer on my desk, I tiredly read through them, feeling overwhelmed by exhaustion. Drifting off on the sofa for a brief moment, I awoke to the cheerful voices of Robert and his mother in the distance. "Huh? Robert and mother too? When did you come?" I inquired, still groggy. Approaching me with a beaming smile, Robert exclaimed, "Yes, Kelly, well done." Confused by his sudden excitement, I noticed the inheritance papers in his hand, the same documents I had been reviewing. Wait, don't just read those without asking. I said, shocked and angry at Robert for looking through the documents without permission. Raising my voice, I expressed my displeasure. However, my mother-in-law, unconcerned, happily chimed in, wow, an inheritance of $3 million. Isn't that amazing? Now we can live comfortably for the rest of our lives. Confused by her sudden remark, I couldn't comprehend the shift in attitude. Robert then turned serious and continued, by the way, about this $3 million, I decided that it will be split between me and my mom. It was right after my father's funeral. Having looked at the documents related to the inheritance I was supposed to receive without permission, Robert remarked, Kelly, don't be too greedy. Oh, now I can finally quit my job. I have to thank the doting old man. Doting old man? Are you talking about my dad? I accidentally blurted out. Ignoring my confusion over this sudden turn of events, Robert and my mother-in-law excitedly discussed buying a new car and going shopping. At that moment, I couldn't hold back my emotions any longer. I teetered on the brink of exploding, burdened with household chores and enduring insults directed at my father. Summoning all my composure, I managed a forced smile and replied, Sure, use the money as you and my mother-in-law please. As you wish, I added, suppressing my seething anger. My mother-in-law, seemingly satisfied, cheerfully chimed in, That's the spirit, Kelly. Quick to agree. Now make sure you work hard and earn money. I don't want our savings to decrease, so work hard. I nodded, pretending to heed her selfish words. Subsequently, Robert and my mother-in-law embarked on a spree of lavish spending, behaving as if they had lost their senses. Robert abruptly quit his job, and my mother-in-law practically moved in with us, incessantly staying at our house. They indulged in luxury brand items and frequented expensive restaurants, boasting about their sophistication. Meanwhile, all the household chores were dumped on me, as if I were a mere maid. Robert seemed convinced that my father's inheritance would materialize immediately. Carelessly withdrawing money from our joint account, my savings of $1 million dwindled rapidly. When I protested their excessive spending, Robert dismissed it, laughing. What are you talking about? Is it $3 million coming soon? This kind of spending is no big deal. Despite my warnings, Robert continued unchecked. A month later, he and my mother-in-law abruptly left for a trip to Hawaii, leaving me behind without an invitation. Alone at home, I resolved to take action. About a week later, while I was relaxing at home, a loud knock on the door jolted me from my thoughts. Glancing at the intercom monitor, I spotted Robert and my mother-in-law, both adorned in aloha shirts, standing at the front door. Calmly but with simmering anger, I inquired, What do you want? Robert's voice rang out, filled with confusion and frustration. What are you even talking about? Why won't the door open? Standing firm, I confidently replied through the intercom, Well, I changed the locks on the door, so of course it won't open. Why? Let's talk this over, Robert pleaded calmly, gesturing towards a nearby cafe. Please go ahead, I'll join you shortly, I suggested, knowing our conversation was futile at the entrance. Once I confirmed they had left, I made my way to the cafe. Arriving, I saw Robert and his mother already waiting, visibly furious. What's this about? Did you change the locks? Hand over the new keys right now, Robert demanded. There's no need for me to give you the new keys. You both need to leave that house, I calmly asserted, facing their growing anger. Presenting a piece of paper, I revealed my decision. A divorce petition I had already filled out. Divorce? You're serious about divorcing me? His mother's voice trembled with shock. Kelly, why has it come to this? She queried, bewildered. In a quiet tone, I addressed their panic. By the way, you've been spending lavishly every day. Are you sure your finances are okay? Robert vehemently defended, What money? Of course it's fine. Your father's inheritance is coming, right? There should still be over $50,000 in our joint account. Look, I'll show you right now. Opening his banking app, Robert's expression shifted abruptly. What? What's this? Why is the money gone? It was there just the other day, he exclaimed, his mother mirroring his confusion as she frantically checked her phone. A loud knock on the door jolted me from my thoughts. Glancing at the intercom monitor, I spotted Robert and my mother-in-law, both adorned in aloha shirts, standing at the front door. Calmly but with simmering anger, I inquired, "What do you want?" Robert's voice rang out, filled with confusion and frustration. "What are you even talking about? Why won't the door open?" Standing firm, I confidently replied through the intercom, "Well, I changed the locks on the door, so of course it won't open." "Why?" "Let's talk this over," Robert pleaded calmly, gesturing towards a nearby cafe. "Please go ahead. I'll join you shortly," I suggested, knowing our conversation was futile at the entrance. Once I confirmed they had left, I made my way to the cafe. Arriving, I saw Robert and his mother already waiting, visibly furious. "What's this about? Did you change the locks?" "Hand over the new keys right now," Robert demanded. "There's no need for me to give you the new keys. You both need to leave that house," I calmly asserted, facing their growing anger. Presenting a piece of paper, I revealed my decision. A divorce petition I had already filled out. "Divorce? You're serious about divorcing me?" His mother's voice trembled with shock. "Kelly, why has it come to this?" she queried, bewildered. In a quiet tone, I addressed their panic. "By the way you've been spending lavishly every day, are you sure your finances are okay?" Robert vehemently defended. "What money? Of course it's fine. Your father's inheritance is coming, right? There should still be over $50,000 in our joint account. Look, I'll show you right now." Opening his banking app, Robert's expression shifted abruptly. What's this? Why is the money gone?" "It was there just the other day," he exclaimed, his mother mirroring his confusion as she frantically checked her phone. I revealed the truth to them as they panicked, failing to grasp the situation. "Of course it's gone. I'm divorcing you, so I moved that $50,000 to my account as part of the property division," I explained calmly. Robert's face twisted with anger momentarily, but then he smirked, almost recalling something. "Fine, I'll divorce you then. Transfer the inheritance you got from your dad right away. After all, property acquired during the marriage is split half and half in a divorce, right?" he retorted. "Well, you might be misunderstanding something," I replied evenly. "Why didn't you know that the inheritance I received, even though it was during our marriage, doesn't count for property division?" There was a moment of stunned silence between us. Then Robert and his mother's expressions shifted drastically. Perhaps they truly believed they would receive part of my inheritance. I was astonished and could only sigh in disbelief. "No, that can't be true. That's impossible," his mother protested, her face flushed with a mix of denial and anger. "Please, check for yourself," I said mockingly. Robert started frantically searching on his smartphone. "It says here property inherited by one spouse from a parent is considered separate property. Therefore, it's not subject to division and can't be split between the spouses," he read aloud, his mother joining in shock. Desperate, Robert approached me, pleading, "Kelly, please don't divorce me. I have no savings and no job. How am I supposed to live if you divorce me?" Faced with his plea, I remained resolute. Realizing it was time to move forward, I spoke clearly and firmly. "What are you talking about? Take responsibility for your actions. I will never forget how you both treated me. I'm divorcing you. I'll go to court if I have to." Intimidated by my fierce demeanor, Robert and his mother shrank back in fear, whimpering softly. Later on, Robert and I went through the divorce proceedings without issues. The $50,000 I had moved from our joint account was recognized as part of the marital property division. Eventually, I managed to evict Robert and his mother from my house. They found themselves deeper in debt, living in a rundown apartment and working tirelessly every day to pay off their debts. In contrast, I sold a condo I used to share with Robert and moved into my father's apartment. With the inheritance I received, I now live comfortably. Grateful to my late father, I aim to protect my happiness and spend my days peacefully, cherishing my new life ahead.